morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Could you guess? Wherever and whenever you are, thanks for making today's bonus webinar part of your day. I'm Geoff Rasmussen, host of the Legacy Family Tree webinars, broadcasting to you live from Surprise, Arizona. I'm excited to be here today for two reasons. First, because I can't wait to talk about the new census tools here at Legacy. And second, because after I'm done, it's spring break. And we're going to take a week off and enjoy the sunshine in California. So I'm thrilled to have so many of you here with me today. Over 1,100 of you have registered since I first announced this webinar just yesterday. Some of you have been with me for previous Flash webinars or Watch Geoff Live webinars. And this one will be similar, live, unscripted, and unrehearsed. But I love this topic so much that it should be easy to talk about. So here's what I have planned today. The main event will, of course, be the demonstration of the 3 new census tools which we've recently added to Legacy. Plus, I'll throw in some other tips as well. And then, so I don't forget, I've written down here that I want to tell you about the future enhancements with some of these tools. And then, right on the heels of Thomas McKenty's webinar, Navigating the 19 U.S. Census, just 2 days ago, I'm going to demonstrate how I used what I learned from him to find where to look for one of my ancestors in the 1940 census, Loring Brown. Then, even though this is a flash webinar, meaning I just put it together yesterday, I did have enough time to come up with some fantastic door prizes, so just be here at the end to be eligible to win. And then I'll announce our traditional 10% off coupon, announce our upcoming webinars, and then head into what I hope will be a great Q&A session. And I'm now pleased to be able to introduce our speaker. Just kidding. You all know me well enough. I just threw that in there for fun, so let's move along. Oh, I'm in a good mood today. So these are the 3 new tools we've added to our free updates of Legacy recently. And while I love all of them, I'm especially anxious to talk about the new Census List tool. And since I announced this in our webinar the other day, I just can't believe how much buzz there is in the genealogy community about this new tool. I'm really happy it's been received so well, and so I hope to give you a couple tips or two that you can use today that will help you. Before you can use everything I'll talk about today, you'll need to make sure that you've installed the latest update of Legacy. Now, you're not going to believe this. When I put this together just this morning, this was the most recent update. And then I got a call from Ken, an hour ago or so, and Ken told me there's an even newer update available now. He and Dave were up into the wee hours of the night enhancing this thanks to your suggestions. Before I move on, yes, Gail, there is video with this. You should be seeing it. If anybody else is not seeing my screens progress, just let me know. Otherwise, I think things are going as they should. So let's switch over to Legacy. And yeah, thanks Tessa and others that are saying that you're seeing this just fine. Very good. Okay, so I'm going to be working with my personal Legacy family file here today, so it's more real. And I'm going to go click on the Legacy Home tab. And over here on the right-hand side, look for the Update section, and it will tell you which version of Legacy you have installed. And it will likely tell you that there is a new update, and right here, instead of it saying you have the latest build, there will be a red link there to click and download and install the latest update. So that's how you do that part of it. So make sure you have the latest update. Oh, Kim says she's downloading it right now. Okay. So our 3 new census tools. Our first one, the new 1940 U.S. Census blank transcription form. This is found in Legacy's Forms Center. So let's head over that way. If you click on the Reports button up here in the main toolbar, now this area right here I will refer to a couple of times probably as the main toolbar, all right? So you'll click on the Reports button and then click on the Books/Other tab. Finally, in the lower left, there's the Forms Center button. When you click on that, you get a screen that looks like this, where you have either relationship diagrams or census forms. And if you haven't browsed this before, you can see there's forms for several countries. The new form for the 1940 census is found right under U.S. Federal. And then let's scroll down just a little bit. Here you can see 1940. There's a plus sign next to it, so if you click on it, you can print either just page 1 or page 2 separately. For now, I'm going to just click on 1940 and click on Preview. Always click on Preview before you hit Print. And here you go. You can't see it much until you zoom in on it. So I'll click on the Zoom In button on the right. Now, the thing that I like about the new census form is it allows you to zoom way in on this, and so you can see the actual column headings of what is contained in the 1940 census. Now, Thomas McKenty in his webinar on Wednesday, he talked about this in depth. One of these I absolutely love. I'm wondering, where did it go? Yes, right here. In what place did this person live on April 1st, 1935? And so the way that Thomas described this is, this 1940 census is, what were his exact words? It was something like, this is a dual census. You're getting two censuses in one. A lot of people migrated between 1930 and 1940, and so, I'm looking forward to this for my ancestors who moved around. And as you scroll down, you'll see more information. Now it's page 2 of the census form, where some of us are going to get lucky. For persons enumerated on lines 14 and 29, they will be asked these supplemental questions, such as, where were your parents born? The language spoken in home in the earliest childhood, information about the veterans and Social Security, and more information about the occupation. Has this woman been married? I'm turning my head here so I can see this. Has this woman been married more than once? Age at first marriage? Number of children ever born? Now, I know some of these types of questions were there for previous censuses, but they're only there for people enumerated on lines 14 and 29. So that gives you a 5% chance of finding your ancestor on line 14 and 29. So we'll have this, like Thomas described, we'll have kind of an ancestors lottery. Okay, so that's the blank form, and so you can use it just to view it, or just come over here on the right-hand side and click on Print. And you can print this out as a transcription form. You can click on Create PDF, and then you would be able to email the blank form to others. That's pretty much it. That was one of our new features and one of our free updates recently. And so once again, you access it by clicking on Reports, Books/Other, Forms Center, and off you go. Okay, looking in the questions section here, I don't, Betty, I'm going to just see if there's any questions related to this. Betty's asking, is this on legal or regular size paper? Well, if you go into page setup, this is where it will tell you the paper size it's going to print out on, and so you can use that there. You know, I don't really know what it would look like if you tried changing the orientation, but you can play around with that there. Okay. Okay, very good. Let me close this and go back over to the presentation. The next new tool in Legacy that we've added is a new SourceWriter template. So you all know that genealogy without documentation is just mythology. And so you know, and hopefully you've learned by now that citing your sources is very important. Well, once you find information from a census, you'll record that information. Let me just open up Loring Brown's data entry screen here, and I'll click right here. And so you may record a new name or a new date or a new place. And as you've watched me in the Watch Geoff Live webinar on adding a census record, you know, or you have some guidelines on what you could do with census information. And so when you add a new census event, as was described there, let's move this over. As you add the new information, of course you want to tell Legacy where did you find this information. And so you would click on the Source button. And so I'm going to, let's just do that. I'll click on the Add button. Now, I don't have access to this yet, but we will. I'm hoping to find Loring in Minneapolis. But once I record all of the new information, I would come and click on, well, according to my personal instructions, to add the source, I go and I first set up the source clipboard. So you can refer to the previous webinars for that. For now, I'll just click on the Source button because I just want to show you where the new template is. So let's click on this Source button, and you would click on Add a new source. Okay, this is found under Census Records. And then select the country. We'll select United States. Select the type of census record, Federal Census Records. Select the year, and we'll scroll down all the way to the 1940 population schedule. And finally, you'll most likely view this as an online image. And when you click on Go to Step 2, you now have all of the appropriate fields to fill in that are associated with the 1940 census. Not much has changed with this template. I think really the only thing that's changed is the series here from T626, I believe, which was 1930, to T627. And so you would just fill this in just as you would any other source. So that's, can't really think anything else. A couple of you are saying, isn't the census available on April 2nd, not April 1st like I typed in that event field? Let's go back to that. Glad that you asked. The census was enumerated on April 1st, but it will be released to the public on April 2nd, meaning it will be on a Monday. I believe it's 9 a.m. Eastern is when it will be released. Okay, so not much else to say about that. You'll be happy to know that if you've installed the latest update of Legacy, that it's ready for you. Okay, let's head back over here. Now this is the exciting part. The new Census List tool. Now it's not the most creative or exciting name that we gave to it, but a couple of months ago I started, as I was preparing for the 1940 census, I started thinking of my 23,113 names that I've got recorded in Legacy, who should I look for in the 1940 census? Meaning, who would have been alive on that date that I can go and search for? And so a couple of things started coming into my mind. One, I guess you could do this. You could go over to your Index tab here and just scroll down. Now I'm going to fix these columns so they're a little bit, I'm just double clicking next to at the end of the column header here. Okay. So you could just scroll down through this list and look to see and manually mark or write down those people that you think might be there. Or can't this already be done with Legacy's search tool? I thought it could, and so for a small class, I was preparing to show this. And so I thought that you could just do a search of everyone born before this date who also died after that date. In other words, that would give me a list of everybody who was alive on that date. But what that would not consider, and it wouldn't include people in my database that didn't have a birth date or their death date was blank. So if you think about that really, really carefully and intensely, you'll come to the same conclusion that I did. And there's not a tool or even a software program out there that I know of that can give us a list of all persons that would just be alive on a certain date because of this second problem right here. And so I talked to our programmers about this. And really, I said, we need a super simple census list tool. Really, all that I want to do is be able to click a button, pick a couple of options, and now I have my list. And so that's what we've been working on for a couple of months now to get it ready for you in time for this 1940 census. But as I've got listed up here, it works for any census, any year, in any part of the world. In other words, this census list tool that I'm about to show you right now, it's really a tool to help you find out who is alive on a certain day. So I could search England, 1871, or Canada, or Nebraska for their state census. So let's just get into it. Let's show you how it's done. Okay, we'll go up to, now this is found either in one of two areas. Either you can click on the brand new census button here in the main toolbar, and this will take you there. Now after installing the new update, if you don't see that here, this is what I'm going to suggest that you do. With your mouse, right-click on any of these buttons here in the main toolbar, and that will open up this screen called Customize Main Toolbar. And here at the top, these are the buttons that are up there now. Down below, notice that there's a lot more. And so if this census button is not up there for you right now, well, just drag it up to the top. Maybe you want the Create CD button, and so just click on it and drag it up to the top. When you click OK, notice that new Create CD button is now there. Okay. Okay, so let's click on the Census button, and it takes you to a brand new tab here of our search screen. If you've ever used search before, then you know that you have all of these other tabs. So that's one way that you can get to this. The other is you could just click on search, and it will take you to the same place where you have the census list tool. Yeah, Susan, I like what she's saying. She's saying, so this tool could also find out who may have been affected by an event. And she suggests like the JFK assassination or even a Civil War battle. Absolutely, Susan. Okay, but we're going to start off simple here by just looking for those people in the U.S. 1940 census. That's what we here in the U.S. were anxious for this. I see there's quite a few people here from Canada, New Zealand, Australia, Germany, even Bangladesh. Can you believe that? Okay, so I've got the United States selected, first of all. And by doing that, it automatically fills in this field right here with United States. Step number 2 is choose the census year. We'll go down to 1940. And then it fills in the date that the census was taken. Step 3, I have a choice between creating a search list or printing a census list report. I'm going to start out with creating a search list. Right now this is oh, that was a lot faster than I thought it would be. It has now gone through my entire database of those 23,000 and some people, and it's given me a list here of those individuals who would have been alive as of the 1940 census. And if you scroll down through this list, you can see that the birth and the death make sense. It's also taken a look at the locations. So people where I've typed in a state, a U.S. state, it's going to include them as part of the list. Even those individuals where I don't have the name of the country at the end, it's going to include them. So Dave's worked really hard to put a lot of intelligence in here. So here's my list of 1,913 individuals that now I need to go and figure out how I'm going to find them in the census. But at least now I've got a really simple list here. Okay, and what some things that you can do with this. Let's go and click on the print button down here at the bottom. And this is just your normal selections here for what you want to include on the report. I always like to go over to the Options tab. Oh, and it looks like I've already typed in the report title. Usually, it'll just say Index List. Randy's got a question. Hi, Randy, by the way. Nice to see you here today. Does it look at all of the events to figure out where they might be living? He's thinking about previous censuses and residences. Randy, it actually does, and I'll show that to you in just a second. That's one of the neatest things about this. Okay, let's turn off this option to start with, and let's just click on Preview. I was just thinking, do I dare, because this is my personal file, and it could take a little while, but it looks like it's going along just fine. While that's setting that up, under Optional Fields, if you want a different field here that's not listed here, just click on Customize. And one of those I might add is the relationship field. I like to see that. So in my report now I can see how each one of these individuals is related to me. So there's your report. I've got 92 pages, it looks like. You could print this out or create a PDF and email that to somebody to ask them to help you out. Okay, we're going to come back to this search list in a bit when I give you some advanced tips. But let's go back up to search, or let's go over to census. And instead of creating a search list, this time I'm going to click on Print a Census List Report. Well, I'm just thinking, now remember, this is Watch Geoff Live, where I haven't rehearsed this. There's one more thing that I want to... Nope, not yet. Okay, we'll get to that soon. Let's click on Print a Census List Report. Almost there. Okay, good. So this report, and it looks like the default orientation is landscape, so it gives you a little bit more room. Let's just take a look at a couple of things on here. Let me zoom in so you can see it a little bit better. So down at the bottom we have Edward Allen. It tells me when he was born, when he died, the age that he would have been on the census. So very good information right here for when you're searching for individuals later on when the index is ready. And the last column here, it gives you the potential place where that person would be expected to be found in the 1940 census. And then in parentheses, it's telling you which event in this person's life it's basing this off of. And so in this case, it looks like Legacy is actually analyzing all of that person's events, their vital events, their residence events, their census events, the information that you have typed in for that person. And for this person, based on everything that it's analyzed, it's 90% likely that you would find this person in St. Cloud, or I'm guessing probably somewhere nearby or in Minnesota. Love it. Let's see, go up a little bit more. We've got Donald Allen, born in 1908, would be age 31 at that time. 50% chance of being in Deer Park, Washington. That was quite a while ago. But let's start there. And so you get the idea, I think. Now, let me find a female. Yes. So here we have, let's do this one. Delilah Alleman, born in 1907, died in 1948. Is it possible? Let's see, she would have been, what, 32 years old, and so possibly married at that time. If I'm searching for her, I should probably be searching for her under her married names, right? Under her married name. And so let me show you a couple of the other options that you can turn on. Let's close this. In the Census List Report options, there's an option to include the married names for wives, or include alternate names. Now this comes in, look at this one. Let me give you a good example for this. I've got an ancestor, his name is John Williams, And because I've recorded some alternate names for him, well, let me click on his alternate names. Look at this. I've recorded him as being known as Edward Riley and Jack Williams. So if I'm looking for this person in the 1940 census, if I turn on the option to include alternate names, it's going to remind me that maybe I should look under these other names as well. So let's go back into where we were. So there's the include alternate names. Finally, this one can be really helpful. And I'm going to do that this time. And I'm going to just click on this button so I can have it working while I tell you about it. Include the surrounding relatives, such as the parents, spouses, or children. So if you've got if you're looking for someone, I'm not really sure what I want to say about this, but it's going to give you the surrounding family information, so it'll make it easier for you to identify a person if you find a possible match. Let's just see what this looks like. So zooming in, here I have Lillian K. Looks like her married name was Lillian K. Brown. I might find her in the household of William Henry Brown, and these are the children that she had. So turn on those options. Now it looks like now that I've done that, my report now is 431 pages long. Do I really want to do that? Okay, so this is where we get into being able to customize this a little bit more. I've shown you how to just do a search for United States. I was over on a Google Plus page yesterday, and I think it was Tessa who was talking about how she had created separate reports for each state. Because as you know, when the 1940 census gets released initially, it's not indexed, and it's really you have to search for people, browse for people by location. And if you can manage this and break it down by states, it'll be easier for you. And so here's something this is live, haven't practiced this. Let's just go to Nebraska. And instead of searching everyone in the United States, I just want everybody who may have been in Nebraska. And I'll leave the date the same. Now let's click on Print a Census List Report and see what happens here. So let's zoom in a bit. So I've got 7 pages of those individuals who are likely to be found in Nebraska. So I'm doing this live, and this is very exciting for me. So I'm breaking this down into smaller projects. Oh boy, I've got lots of comments coming in now about how great that is. I agree. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so you get the idea. So you can do the same thing for any state. Do I talk about? I guess I'll talk about this now. Let's go back. So I've shown you United States. Go and pick any year. Let's pick 1860. Again, it puts in that date. Let's click on Print a Census List Report. Yes, Tessa is saying they can also do this if you're working on other countries, and I'm going to do that next. So this is 1860. We're almost there. Thanks for the kudos there, Pierre from Canada. Okay, so here's my list of everyone who was alive as of the 1860 census. Just this is brand new. This is the first time for me here too, so I'm just seeing if it really is working. So this is really nice. Okay, let's close this down. Larry is asking, what about Denmark? Oh, and he's suggesting the Rasmussens might have been there. Thanks, Larry. Larry's from Hemet, California. So let's click on the country, and let's go and choose a different country. This time let's do Denmark. So it fills in Denmark. Now do you see how it lists all of the census years that are specific just for Denmark? So let's do 1855. And I was wondering if it's going to fill in an exact date. Maybe we didn't have that. Maybe it's still being developed. I don't know. Let's click on Print a Census List Report. Again, the first time I'm going to see this myself. All right, do I have any I guess I've got 87 pages of people, and I probably have, here's my Rasmussens. So Maren Rasmussen, married names of Maren Nielsen and Maren Jensen, but if I remember correctly, in Denmark, they're found under their maiden name. She would have been 18 years old at the time and likely, or a 50% chance, born in or living in this place. Excuse me. Okay, great. So you see how you can use any country, including Canada for my Canadian friends. Looks like we need to get the 1960 Western Canadian Census in there. If somebody will email me about that, that will remind me. Thank you. Okay, what more can I really say about this right here? Thinking. Oh, okay. One other thought that you might have. You want to find everybody that could have been in a certain town. So here's Minneapolis. Haven't tried this, but I want to see if it works. And let's go to, well, I guess first I need to change the country to United States. Let me type in Minneapolis. And let's go pick 1940. I want to turn that off for right now. Is this going to do? Wow. Hey guys, right now I'm a satisfied and happy user. I'm one of you. Okay, so Mary Brown, all of these people. So I have 3 pages of people that may have been in Minneapolis. Exciting. All right, very good. Okay, now I want to see how many people I had. Wasn't it? That didn't do what I wanted to do. Just a second. Let's go back to just United States, 1940, and I'm going to click on Create a Search List. Yeah, Lincoln says, I'm just as excited about this new census tool as I am about the upcoming 1940 census. Me too. Okay, so I've got a list of 1,913 individuals in my database that would be expected to be found in the 1940 census. Do I really want to search for all of these people? In other words, who are these people? Are they my direct line ancestors, meaning my great-great-grandparents? Are they my 4th cousins 3 times removed? I hinted earlier that you can, when you go and create this report by clicking on Print, that you can add a relationship column. And let's do that. And so you've got, what, 8 different field names that you could use. I'm going to just replace one of them with relationship. Here we go. Click on Close. And make sure I have a check mark right there. Now when I preview this, let's just see what happens. What I'm expecting to happen is in the far right-hand corner, it's going to show me how each one of these 1,913 individuals are related to me. And then if I can remember, I'll show you how you can narrow this down so you're only going to be looking at your direct line ancestors. That's what's coming up next. Several of you are asking about, can you narrow this down or can you group your report by state or even by city? I'm going to talk to you about that in just a bit. Okay, so we're almost done. I'm expecting this to be a wow factor. Okay, so you see everybody in the list. Here, this one is the wife of my 2nd cousin 3 times removed. So maybe I'll work on her a little bit later. The husband of my 2nd great-grandaunt. So you get the idea. So what I've shown you here is how you can create or customize your report. Okay? Okay, once again, this list is 1,913 individuals of everybody in my database that would be found on the 1940 census. Instead of looking at all of these, I would rather just narrow this down so it's just giving me a list of my direct line ancestors, and then let's find out which of those direct line ancestors would be expected to be found in this 1940 census. So if you haven't yet used tagging in Legacy, this is where it becomes very valuable. These three buttons right here represent tagging. If you don't see those, you want to turn tagging on, and you do this by going to Options, Customize. And right here, make sure that there's a check mark next to Enable Tagging Options. And if there is, you'll be able to see different tagging options throughout Legacy. You can also access it by clicking on the Edit menu and go down to Tag Records. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to start with myself. So instead of John Williams, let me just quickly change this to myself. And before I click on the Ancestors button to tag all of my ancestors on number 1, down here in the tag description, I'm going to write Geoff's ancestors. Now, when you're talking about ancestors, you're implying that this means your direct line. It's really it means the same thing. Okay, let's click on the Ancestors button. Move this over a little bit. I've got two monitors. That's why some things are showing up on the other right now. Let's click on OK. And now it's tagged all of my ancestors. So anywhere I navigate here, anybody that has a number 1 or it's blue, this means that that is my direct line. Let's go over to Loring Brown. Notice he is not tagged on number 1. Well, he's not one of my direct line people. So now what I'd like to do is go up to Search. And let's click on Detailed Search. And what I'd like to do here is search for all individuals where the tag 1 is equal to tagged. In other words, this will be giving me a list of just my direct line. So let's check that out. Let's click on Create List. Okay, so my direct line I have no idea who this person is, obviously. Do not judge me on everything you're seeing here. Boy, back when I first started years ago, I imported some of this information from, whoever, some website probably. Okay, so I've got 9,085 individuals on my direct line. Which of these people would I expect to find in the 1940 census? So let's go down to Search, Find. Now let's go click on the Census List tab. And look at this right down here in the far lower left-hand corner. Only search the search list. Remember, my search list just contains my direct line. I'm getting chills. Isn't this fun? So if you have that option selected right there, and then you've got everything up here set how you want it, now let's click on Create a Search List. And I'm hoping if all goes well, look at this, of my direct line, meaning those that are most important to me. I've now narrowed it down to 256 individuals. So now if I go and click on Print, and I have that relationship column there, number 1, it should go much quicker, but number 2, most of these all of these relationships should be quite close. Because of the other tagging options that I had selected, I also told it to tag the immediate family members. Okay? Okay, good. Let me summarize what I just did. The first thing that I did is I tagged my direct line. Let's close this. I went up to Edit, Tag Records. I typed in my tag description. I had myself selected here, and I clicked on Ancestors. So all of my ancestors are tagged on number 1. So I've narrowed it down that way. Now when I go to Census, make sure you click on Only Search the Search List. Lincoln's saying goosebumps. Lots of others are saying, I don't want to repeat some of these, but great. Oh, very good. So you can use the Only Search the Search List and click on this button here, or on Print a Census List Report. So I would expect that this would give me those same 256 individuals. So this time, 24 pages. Boy, there's one more thing that I want to say about this. And this is where it really all comes together, if you're following me. Let me go back and let's click on Create a Search List. Remember, we're only searching, so we've got our 256 individuals again. All of them are tagged on number 1, which you know what that means now. They're my direct line. I want to tag these 256 individuals on number 2 so that I can always come back and refer to this group in the future. Let's try this. Let's go to Options, Advanced Tagging. Let's type in a description for tag 2, 1940 U.S. Census Potentials. My direct line. That's really ultimately what we're going to have. Let's make the changes on number 2. And then let's click on Everyone in the Search List button. When I click on Close, now everybody in my search list is now tagged on number 2. What this means to you is that any time in the future, let's say that you close Legacy down, you go on vacation, you go on our 9th annual Legacy Genealogy Cruise in May, and then you come back home, and you think to yourself, I know that I was doing something with the 1940 census. Who were those individuals? Well, let's go back up here to Edit Tag Records. Because you typed in the description right here, it's giving you a reminder. Everybody that you've tagged on number 2 are those that you want to be searching for first in the census. Well, that's exciting. Let's go up to Search, click on Detailed Search, and when I go to tag 2 is equal to tagged, let's make sure I clear the list before this search. Then I click on Create List. There's my list again. Okay, so you know a little bit about tagging, a more advanced concept. You now know about how to easily create your list for the upcoming census or for any place in the world and for any date. Okay. What I want to take you to now, let's go back to my PowerPoint. This is what's coming. Now, this is a personal email that I got from Dave, who is Legacy's president, and he's the one in charge. He programmed this new tool, and he sent it to me this morning at 6:22 a.m. Oh, Russ just told me something that I really want to tell you first. Where's that list? I'm working on tag 2s, right? Let's go back to my search list, my 256 individuals. When I search for Thaddeus Allen, and I'm done with him now, watch this. Just double click on that X, and it goes away. And now I go and work on Lester Austin. When I'm done with him, just untag him. And now I'll only have 254 people. Oh, it's going to get even better, Russ. And this is just for those advanced. Well, I know I've got a big group here. Let me right-click on this button down here that says Individual Tag 1, and let me select Tag 2. Now when I click on the arrow right to the next of it, that takes me to the next person in my list, who's tag number 2. And when I'm done with him, I just untag him by clicking there. Click. There's my next person. And so it's just a way of navigating through those that you've tagged. Okay, we've tried to think of everything. Not everybody is ready for this, so don't be overwhelmed. Let's go back. So this is my email from Dave. He says, I've been working all night on the census list stuff. It's pretty smart now. If you enter United Kingdom, it will find England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland locations and lots of other good stuff. It being 6:15 a.m., I'm seriously considering heading to bed. Ken is going to do a general release this morning so you can get it for the webinar. I hope Dave doesn't mind that I'm sharing this with you. Since I think I'm going to be incoherent for most of the day today, if you need future enhancement ideas from me, they are. I asked Dave if he would come on the webinar today to talk to us about this, but seeing that he went to bed quite late last night, he told me some of the things that are coming. So coming, when you run the Census List tool, it will check to see if the person has already been found in the census. And we will do this by looking at event names that you've already typed in to see if the year and the place is contained there. He will look at event dates to see if the exact census date is being used in the event. He will look at source citations to see if the year and date are in the source name. That's exciting. Another idea that we've had is when you create the report to be able to sort the report by location. So you get all of the Connecticut's together. And then within Connecticut, maybe all of the Windham counties together. So if you have any other ideas, maybe send me a personal email at Geoff@legacyfamilytree.com. I won't be able to see everything here in the chat area. There's just there's too many of you here to handle that. So I love his last line. I'm finding myself staring stupidly at my desk as absolutely nothing is happening in my brain. I hope I can find the bedroom. So exciting things are coming. Let me take you through the ultimate process here. Now you know how to create a list of everybody that you want to search for in the census. And I'm going to go through this rather quickly because you can still go back in our webinar archives to follow Thomas McKentie's steps and suggestions on how to find somebody. As you know, initially, the 1940 census is not going to be indexed. And so we need an address for that person in 1940. More importantly, we need the enumeration district number. And so we're going to go and use stevemorse.org and take the quiz. So let's go and take a look at Loring Brown first of all. Here's Loring Marsden Brown. And what I use the chronology for everything that I do. I want to see where was he living in 1940. I suppose I could look at that census list report, but I want a little more information such as his exact address. Do I have that somewhere? I can see that in 1930 I've recorded him living in Minneapolis. In 1936 I've recorded a residence, and look at this. I have a residence that's quite close to 1940. Then it looks like in 1945 he's still living in Minneapolis. That's where he was married for the second time, it looks like. So 1936 I have this address. Where did I get that? Let's go and edit his screen really quickly. So his 1936 residence, is that the one I'm looking for? Yeah. And let's click on the source button for this. And it shows me that this was the Social Security application. Now this is one that we didn't talk about the other day. Let me click on that picture and zoom. And, right here. So this is another source of where you can find an address for where a person is living at around the time of the 1940 census. So very good. Also, if you have the actual census, let's go look at his 1930 as an example. And I'll click on the census image here that I've linked to that event. And as we zoom in, imagine Loring Brown is on here somewhere. Oh, there he is. Looks like his house number is 4304. If I scroll down a little bit further, on Minnehaha Avenue. So it looks like the same address then as well. Okay, so now that I'm armed with his address, let's go and do what Thomas McKentie suggested by going over to stevemorse.org. And click on U.S. Census. And there's all of these individual tools down here. I really liked what he showed on just taking the tutorial quiz. Let's do that. And so this will give you some background on what you're looking at. Down here at the very far lower left, it says click here when you're ready to begin. So let's do that. Now, just answer the questions. Do you know the city, town, rural area, or institution in which your family lived on April 1st, 1940? Well, I'm going to say yes because I have an idea where he might. I have a recent address. So I'm going to click on yes. Okay, did the family move between 1930 and 1940? Either I don't know, yes they moved, or no they stayed put. I'm kind of banking on the fact that he was still there in 1940, so I'm going to say no for now. Are you willing to do a little extra work now so that there will be fewer 1940 enumeration districts for you to search through when you get to the census? Sure. Well, I can't really agree with this, but I'm going to click on sure. Okay then, let's not worry about 1930. You know where your family was in 1940. Were they in a rural area? In an urban area of more than 5,000? Well, Minneapolis was a larger area. Let's click here. So your family lived in an urban area having 5,000 people or more. Isn't Steve Morse wonderful? I love what he's done. He says, do you know their street address? I sure do. Having their address should make things much easier. Let's see if it's in one of the cities covered in the one-step large city ED Finder tool. So it says go to this tool, select the state, and look in the city drop-down box. And then he says, do you see your city listed there? Let's just click here and see what happens. So I'll click on Minneapolis, or Minnesota, I mean. And then it says select a city, and it looks like Minneapolis is there. And then select the street. I believe it was Minnehaha. I don't know how you say it. That's how I say it. Minnehaha Avenue. Excellent. So because I've selected Minnehaha Avenue, it's now narrowed down where he should be found in all of these enumeration districts, which is quite a bit. So let's go and it says now select a cross street or a back street from the list above. Well, this is where I'm wondering. Another one of his oh, right down here, look at this. View the present day map of the neighborhood. If you don't have goosebumps yet, here they come. So I'm going to enter the house number, which was 4304, and I'm going to click on the Google button. Look at this. I was stunned when I looked at this last night for the first time for him. Here's a picture of, I mean, I'm guessing that this is the picture of the home if it's accurate. I'm amazed. And right here in the center, it looks like this is where it is. Let me click on the zoom button a little bit. All right. So now it shows me the cross streets. So it looks like East 43rd Street and East 44th Street. So now let's go back and let's select a cross street. So I'm hoping that 43rd Street is in here. Yeah, 43rd East. And look at that. It narrowed it down to 3 enumeration districts that possible places where he would be. And let's do one more. Let's do, I think it was 44th East. Wow, I've narrowed it down. Yeah, Paul is saying wow, and then she writes back, double wow. Now this is great. So the enumeration district that I want is 89-392, and if I click on View Microfilm, watch what happens. Please stand by. The census images won't be available until April 2nd, 2012. I imagine this is just a sample, fill in the a filler image right here. So when the time comes, when I click on that, I imagine it will take me right to that enumeration district where I would need to then search one by one. So I've used the steps and the knowledge that I've learned from Thomas McKenty in his webinar the other day. If you haven't viewed that yet, go back and watch it. It'll be up there for probably the next 9 days, I think. Or pick up his webinar CD. I had another thought. Oh, is my next screen? Yeah, this is, so that's kind of what's left. As he suggests, you need, in preparation for the release of this census, go in and create your list, first of all, of everyone in Legacy. Go and find out what their addresses are. There's a variety of tools and resources you can use for that. Then learn what their enumeration district number is, and that's what you would use stevemorse.org for. And then, in preparation for the release of the census, go and learn about indexing. So indexing.familysearch.org. And then become a helper, become an indexer. I'm looking forward to that. So, let's do this. We'll announce our next live webinars, do some door prizes, have a coupon code, and then how many questions do I have here in my panel? We've got 202 of them. It's really, there's, by the way, did I tell you we have 1,000 of you here today? Wonderful. We've hit our limit once again. Okay, so let's do this. As you know, our live webinars are free. Thanks for being here. This one here today, we've made the decision to keep it in the archives indefinitely. Now, because this was a flash webinar, I didn't take the time to write up step-by-step instructions for you, so you can go back and view it. If you'd like to have access forever and add the CD to your webinar on CD library, it too is available in our store right now. I was seeing if I had a direct link to give you. I don't have that yet. Here's the pricing for it, and with the coupon code I'll give you here in just a few minutes. That's the pricing. Like I showed just a couple of days ago, just go up to Buy Now, go down to Training Videos, and it'll just be here at the top of the list. You can also choose a subcategory, pick your speaker, and go that way. So we've got, here's our next 5 upcoming webinars. I'm going to take next week off. Sad. No Wednesday webinar next week. But you'll have lots of time now to work on the census. So DNA research with Ugo Perego is coming up next, and then obituaries by Tom Kemp. Digital writing tools. Looks like a really exciting one by Lisa. The Pursuit from Genealogy Hobbyist to Professional with 2 accredited genealogists, John Kitzmiller and Claire Bryson Banks. And then Malcolm Green will be here to show you about the Families app. And I'm using my tablet more and more, and I love having access to all of my legacy right there, either on my tablet or my cell phone. It is great. Let me see. It looks like I'm going to pass this link along to all of you. Ken, who it looks like is here, sent me the link to the webinar CD. Plus, look at this, 26 more to choose from for the rest of the year. I added this one just the other day. You know that Megan Smoleniak will be here, I believe, in April for reverse genealogy. We've just added her popular lecture called Neglected History. Make sure that you sign up for that, and as all of you have learned today, try to join 15 to 20 minutes early to make sure that you get your spot. A brand new bundle. We now have 3 of these census webinars on CD, and that it's found at the very top of the training videos part in our store. So we've bundled this for special pricing if you haven't yet picked these up. But we've got navigating the new census tools, so the recording of today, and then we have Thomas's webinar CD, and then the Watch Geoff Live adding a census record that we've done. So we've taken $1 off of each of those, and with today's coupon code, that's an additional 10% off. And so our door prizes, all that you have to do is be here. I'm looking for my pen to write these down. Okay, so drum roll. Looks like we have Hubert or Hubert Charlebois from Ontario, Canada. Congratulations to you. Any of our door prize winners, please watch your email. Our customer service will send you an email asking you for your mailing address. If you don't hear from them right away, it probably wouldn't hurt to just write to them at legacycustomerservice@legacyfamilytree.com. And that'll make it easier and quicker for them to get your address. So congratulations to you, Hubert or Hubert. And look at this. I'm in such a good mood that I added a second winner. And this winner, it looks like, is Dolores Peterson from California. Write your names down. So stay tuned. We'll have a good Q&A session. Let's see what's next. Oh, very good. The official, unofficial guide to using Legacy Family Tree Plus. Research advice, news, views, and technology tips. It's hard to do it, but it's a nice self-plug. 306 pages, either paperback or PDF. There's the pricing. And let's see who our winner is for this today. It looks like Glenn Ewell of Utah. So congratulations to you. write this down. You know what? Let's pick one more. I'm really excited about this. Looks like Marilyn Poole from Tennessee is our last door prize winner of the day. So congratulations to Marilyn. And now you're all a winner because here's your 10% off coupon. It's actually the same coupon code that we announced a couple of days ago, still valid through Monday, March 12th. Oh, let me put this in your control panel. There, so you should all have that written down there for you now. So it's good for anything in our online store, software, Geoff's CDs, training videos, all other webinar CDs, even the Flip Pal mobile scanner. It's the best time to pick one of those up. Books, Magna Brights, add-on software, DNA kits, and more. Again, valid through Monday, March 12th. Okay, I'm scared about this part. There's so many of you here and lots of questions, and I haven't been going through and filtering through your questions as we've been going along. So bear with me as I go through your questions. I'll just leave this part on the screen here for you, and we'll do the best that we can here. Let me do this. I'm going to try something that we haven't done in a while. I've just turned on your ability to raise your hand. Don't click on that button yet, unless you have a microphone or a headset, and if you have a question that you want to ask on the air. So this is found in your webinar control panel in the upper right-hand corner. Just click on the hand-raising button, and I'll call on you if you'd like to be part of that. So let's see. We've got first question, a question from Reg, who asks, regarding the 1940 search list, is there a way to sort my direct line with only male members? Interesting question. I think so. Let's go back up to search. I want to pull up that list of my tag 2s. Remember, that's my direct line. So let's click on Create List, just as a reminder. So it's down to 253 individuals because, remember, I untagged a few of them. But this contains both males and females. Well, let's go back to search and then find. Let's add, well, I could add another condition where the gender is equal to male, I think. Or let's just say I want to look for all males who are tagged on number 2. Let's just see if this works. Excellent. So we're down to 122 individuals. So an advanced search technique there. Okay. A couple of you have raised your hands, Karen Wood and then Richard Waltrip. If you did intentionally raise your hand, keep them up, and I'll get to you in just a minute. All right. Looking through my questions. Oh, a question from Nancy. Will the census form that we were looking at, will it ever be in a form other than PDF so that you can type the information in? I hope so. It's not there yet, but love your question. Always have hope. Okay, I'm going to open up Karen Wood's microphone. Karen is from Delaware. Welcome to the webinar, Karen.
Hi there.
Can you hear me? Yes, good to hear you.
Good. Okay, I'm one of those people that wasn't real good about putting things where they should, so all of my censuses are in my notes.
Okay.
Is there a way to modify that tool to look through notes and pick out the word census?
Oh boy, a really good question. First of all, let me empathize with you by showing you my John Williams. Let me click on his notes button here. And I'm guessing that your notes may look something similar to this.
Yes,
a long time ago, when we didn't have any place to type in special events like this, or even our sources, we would put them just in the notes field. And
generations.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. So I know a lot of people that still have their information here in the notes fields. Is there a way to get, so your question is there a way to get our census tool to look in the notes Boy, if Dave were, you know what? When I'm done here, I'm going to see if Dave is awake yet, and I'm going to ask him if there is any way to do that. Right now, probably not immediately. But look at this. Okay, Karen, you're making me think. Let's go up to search. Oh, this gets exciting. Let's go over to detailed search, and then in the look for whom, I'm going to go down and select notes general. And then I'm going to say contains, and then you might, I don't know how you've done it. You may have typed it in like that. You may have just typed in the word census.
No, I probably put in 1930 census.
Okay. If you did that, that's even better. And then we could add another condition. You know what? I want to see if this actually works for John. Let me go back and open up his notes. I have a census for him in Minnesota in 1880. So I want to search and see if it works for him. So general notes contains, what did I say, 1880, I think?
I think, yeah.
Then let's go and add a second condition where the general notes would also contain the word Minnesota. Oh, let's see if it works. Let's click on Create List. Does John Williams does show up here in the list. And I might now need to go click on the Notes tab, and if you scroll down, you'll be able to see that, that does show up. So there's one possibility for you right now, not as automated as maybe you would hope. In the future, you might take a look at possibly when you're working on that person. You might just go into that person's notes fields, and you can certainly copy and paste data from the notes fields into a brand new event. If you do that, Karen, that allows you to use the chronology view to its fullest, where it will arrange everything in chronological order and do some really nice things.
Before you go, I have an answer probably to the other question.
Okay.
If you have a PDF document and you have anything like Photoshop, Adobe, then it becomes editable. So
okay.
You can type into it.
Interesting. Okay. And I suppose then if you had Adobe Acrobat, you can do even more with it.
Yeah. You had Adobe Acrobat, Photoshop Elements. Any of those will allow you to edit that art.
Well, very good. Well, Karen, thanks for calling in today or for being a part of this webinar. Karen's from Delaware, and I'm glad that this all worked out. Thank you so much. Let's go to Brian Kelly from Ontario. Let me open up your mic, Brian, and then we'll get to, let me put Karen's hand down so I don't call on her again. There we go. Brian, welcome to the webinar.
Hello, Geoff.
Hey, Brian. I know Brian as one of our support people from Legacy, so it's good to see you here today. So go ahead, Brian. You're on the air.
Just a point on Karen's. If you've searched the notes and found a search list for people with census in their notes, could you then use the census list to search within the search list?
Ah, I love it.
For a particular census.
I'm so glad that you're here. So what we've done, thank you. We created this list, and it had a list of 8 individuals. And now what you're suggesting is now click on search. Well, see, Brian, I've already limited this to those with 1880 census. But let's do this, Brian. Let's take out the year there. She may have just typed in census, and let's click on create list. Now we've got a list of 29. Now let's go back to the census list. And I think this is what you're suggesting. Now I might just pick 1940. And are any of those people in my filtered list going to show up if I click on only search the search list? Is that where you were headed with that?
That was my suggestion, yes.
Okay, so let's click on create a search list now, and I'm down to 6. So these individuals had the word census and Minnesota in a notes field, and then we used the new census list tool to create a list of those that should be found in 1940. And look at this. It looks like every single one of these would be found in 1940. Okay, Brian. Brian from Ontario, Canada, thanks for being here today, and thanks for all that you do on the support end of Legacy. So good to have you.
Jeff.
Okay, we'll talk to you later. Richard, this is successful so far. Let's open up Richard's microphone. Richard is from Washington. So how are you today, Richard? Oh darn, microphone's not working there, Richard. I'll give you another try. Let's go to Lauren from Indiana. Lauren, welcome to the webinar.
Thank you very much. How are you?
Oh, doing well. How are you, my friend?
Okay, we're connected. All right. The only question that I had, we're talking about notes. Will this work with all 3 notes?
Let's go. Let's click on the search button.
Yeah, general and research and medical.
Now, I told it to just search the notes general. So other ones that you can do notes general, research, or medical. So not one of those will search all of them all at once, but you might need to add another condition, if you want to also search the others.
Fine, thank you.
Okay, thanks for being here, and thanks for what you do there in Indiana. We'll talk with you later. Okay. Boy, that's fun when we can talk to you guys this way. Let me go down through our written questions, and others use that hand-raising button if you want to. Let's see. Let me go all the way down to the bottom. Well, we've got lots of comments. I like this one from Pierre. Your team has created an outstanding report writer. Your success should be looked into by software developers. Merci from Canada. Okay, very good. Let's see. Oh, Dear Myrtle's here. Great. Wow, real-time demo. Great to search through one's notes. It is. Very good. Russ from New Jersey is here. I'm going to open up your microphone, Russ. I know that you're good with this technology, so glad to have you here on the show.
Good afternoon, Jeff. Can you hear me?
Yes, you sound really well.
Oh, okay. My question is, I now have recorded my enumeration district because I've done my homework.
Okay.
How can I mark that so that when I now have access to the census on April 2nd or thereabouts, I know who to look for? Do I use another tag?
Oh, so okay. I like what you're saying. So let's go back and let me do a search for my tag 2s. Remember, my tag 2s were those that of my direct line that would qualify to be in the 1940 census. What you're saying is, as you go through this list, let's say for this top one, Arch Bacon, if you find an enumeration district number for him, tag him there on number 3, and just go down through the list. So Elizabeth, you found her enumeration district. Parley, you found his. And
would you? My question was the next step.
Okay.
I now know that Minnesota enumeration district for whatever town.
Yeah.
That online. I can view it, browse through it.
Mm-hmm.
A list that I know who to look for. Tag 3 would say I found the enumeration district. Would I put that into the notes then?
Okay. Russ, I haven't thought about this yet. What would we do? Let's see. Thinking. I might go over here to the person's research notes.
Okay.
Well, you could do it that way. So you could do that person's ED was something like this.
Right.
And when you go to print this particular report, just tell it to also include those research notes. So that'll give you a list of all of the EDs. Did you have another thought?
No, that's what I thought. I just wasn't quite sure where it should be. Research notes sound good. Well, you found the census in the notes section. You could say ED, where I would probably put state location ED.
Okay.
So I could search for Michigan or
Love it.
New Jersey.
Love it. Excellent. Another suggestion, just while we're thinking out loud, and thank you. I'm glad that you're here. Hey, Russ, you've somehow You've exited my, I need to put your microphone on mute somehow. You went away. Let me find you and let's close your mic. Okay, now we won't hear you eating lunch. Another thought that I just had while we're brainstorming out loud is for each person, you might, let me just go to someone that's been gone a while. Let's go to this person and edit them. You might do this. You go up to their to-do list, click on the Add button, call it Census, and maybe you find him. Now this is my personal data, so I don't want to really ruin this, but I'll just cancel this when I get done. Let's say I'm going to find him in Minneapolis, find in the 1940 census. Down here, this is where I might type in the enumeration district number that I found. And on the repository, you would go and add the site where the census will be, and give it a priority of high. And when you click on, when you save that, will now go into your list of to-do items for that person. Later on, when you're ready to actually go and do the searching, you would click on print. And this is what I would do. I would print a list of tasks with whatever repository. Gosh, I'm just having a brain freeze. 1940 census.gov. I can't remember now. I'm teaching a class about it next week in Colorado. It's written down, so I don't have to remember, right? Anyways, I could just select that repository, click on print, and now I've got my list of everything that I've said that I want to do for that one repository, and it would include those notes that I've entered in here. So a couple of different ways that you can do this. This is exciting. Okay, let's see. Let's go back to my list of questions. Oh, Karen says, well, let me pass this link along then to all of you. 1940census.archives.gov, and the link that Karen was sent to me, that I'll send all of you now, is the1940census.com, and that's the one that will really give you everything that you want to know about the upcoming census, and it will help you get started with the indexing. I love it. Tessa says, and the to-do list that we're talking about, it can be broken down by location and repository, so that would work great as well. Thanks for that comment. All right. A little bit of dead air here while I'm looking for your questions here. Yeah, Linda did suggest create a to-do item for the 1940 census for the person with the info of which ED to look in. I'm glad that you said that. Good. Kristen, do you have a webinar for researching the Danish census, birth, death, and marriage info in English? No, not yet. We're coming. Ted is asking, how do I copy and paste a census to Legacy? Now, for the ultimate discussion on that, I guess, go back and review the Watch Geoff Live Census Edition. Before I answer your question, I'm going to delete that to-do item that I just created. Okay, so he's asking if you find a census, an image, Ted, I would think, how would you add that to Legacy? Well, let's say I'm going to just use this person here, and if you follow the instructions from that the census webinar, let's click on the Add button, and you would go through filling in this data, and then we go and click on the Picture button, and we would click on the Picture button one more time, and now you just have to remember, where did I save the copy of that digital census image that I downloaded from the site? And so if you learned in my Organizing and Sharing Digital Images webinar last week that I've got all of my documents arranged by location. And so if we're looking in Hennepin County in Minneapolis, here's the list of all of my census documents. And I'll just click OK. I realize I'm just making this up. This is not for this person. And I would type in 1940 census, give it a date. You could spell it however you want to. I'd probably spell it the right way for you. When you click on Close, then that image is now linked to that census. And so the really quick instruction, that's how we do it. I see that Cherry from Utah has raised her hand, so I'll give you a second to decide if you meant to do that or not, and then I'll open up your mic. So Ted, I hope that helps. Here's a tip that you might not know unless I told you, just while I'm looking at this. The person's picture button right up here, do you see that only half of it is colored? The left-hand side? That's an indication to me that this person has no general pictures, but they do have other pictures. Let me click on that. So in his individual picture gallery, there's nothing there like a picture of his portrait. But if I click on all pictures, I do have something else there. So if he had both an individual picture and an event picture, then it would be full color on both sides. So little tip there for some of you that are ready for that. Okay, let's open up Cherry's microphone. Cherry is from Utah. If I can get this to work here. It's not unmuting. That's here on my end. I'm supposed to be able to just click there and it opens it up. It's not working, Cherry. Don't know why. I'll try to come back to you. Darn. Okay, back to any other questions. Joyce is asking, can I use all my data from Ancestry and Legacy? Is it possible to download that data? Look for somewhere up there about a download button or an export button. There's lots of places up there at Ancestry, but you might try and find in your tree, just look for an export or a download button, and it should be able to give you the ability to download your data into a GEDCOM file. Oh, yeah, Cherry's writing it. She raised her hand by mistake, so that might be the reason. So thanks, Cherry. Melanie, I would like to see a webinar about tagging. Yeah, that would be nice. Have I done one of those recently? It seems like, let me take you online. Let's go right up to legacyfamilytreestore.com, because if you go to Legacy Products and you scroll down, in the Training CDs Volume 1, oh, it's Volume 2, there's a video there on Legacy's tagging and searching made easy. Now, in the webinars that we do, I try not to duplicate the content that's in these videos so that you're not feeling bad about purchasing multiple products. So in the meantime, we do have that there. Patsy is asking a question. Where do you turn on the color with, oh, I know what she's referring to here. She's noticing here that for some of these labels, they're red. Okay. The red is an indication that I have typed in a source for that event. Well, notice that for the given name, surname, and some others, it's not red, so I don't have a source for that. Hers probably shows up in dark blue, so she can barely tell that they are colored. So let's take a look at that. Let's go over to Options, Customize, and click on Colors. And then there's a big button here that says click here to change the user interface colors. If you click on this button right here that says Contents, pick any color that you want to. I like red because it stands out. And when you close and save, let's go back in, those labels will be colored there. Okay. Yeah, Joyce is asking about GEDCOM. Yeah, let me write it in your control panel. For those of you that are newer to this, it's spelled GEDCOM. It stands for Genealogical Data Communication. And you'll see even in Legacy, if you go to the File menu, go to Export to a GEDCOM, this just gives me the ability to exchange or share my data here in Legacy with someone else. If they have Legacy, I could just give them a backup of my Legacy file if I want to, or I can export to a new Legacy file and just filter out what they want. I imagine you can go up under Help and do a search for GEDCOM. By the way, speaking of help, if I click on the new Census button here, And if I click on the Help button, there's not going to be anything in here about the new census tool. That's because I did not install the latest new update, which was released an hour before I started here today. So I'm told that the most recent free update has a whole help section just on the new census tool. Oh, Tessa comments. I love what she's saying here. She says, now folks might also want to color their direct ancestors by the 4 groups. She has found this helpful, and also tag by each, and tag by direct each side. Let me show you this. I love this. Well, this is just kind of turning into like a user group meeting, isn't it? It's great. I'm not going to take you to my personal pedigree because of privacy, but let's just start out here with Loring Brown, and let's just pretend this is me, okay? So if I go like this, and I go to Tools and Apply Ancestor Colors, and then click on Apply Color Coding, this will mark each of my 4 direct lines a different color. So all my blues are my father's line. All the greens would be my father's line, and the same with red and yellow down here. And so what this allows you to do is, if you're ever looking in your pedigree and you see someone that's blue, this is a really good help that this line is part of my father's line. Okay. Okay, good. I think I'm going to wrap this up. Yes, let's do that. Thank you, everyone, for being here, for putting up with the Watch Geoff Live feel to this, but I think it gives it a little more a real feeling sometimes. And I had a fun time learning about those people that I'm going to be looking for soon too. So good luck with your census searching or any other type of searching that you're going to be doing with the new census tool. Tell all your friends, your genealogy buddies, about it. It's in the free version of Legacy. You don't have to pay for this new tool that we've added. I asked Dave, is it really in the deluxe edition? And it is. Or it's really in the free version, and it is. So even if you're here using a different program, well, you can first repent, and then, and teasing of course, download the free version of Legacy, and you can run this report in there. So thanks again for making this webinar part of your day, wherever and whenever you are. Remember, life is short. Do genealogy first. Bye-bye.